Hello, I'm Sheri Penner, Deloitte Private's tax leader for Canada. I'm pleased to share with you the next in our series of videos addressing the federal government's proposals on tax planning using private corporations. In this video, we will be sharing a summary of the key concerns and recommendations raised as part of our submission to the Minister of Finance on October 2nd. Our submission outlined 16 recommendations in all and focused on the following 4 key themes that capture our general view of the proposals. First, we believe the portrayal of the proposals as merely closing loopholes available to the wealthy was not appropriate. The scale of changes and content contained in the proposals is tantamount to tax reform in this area and should be treated as such. We have recommended that the proposals be suspended until a more robust consultation process can be undertaken, complete with a joint task force to examine the breadth of the impact of these proposals. In particular, we would encourage an extended consultation to include a full assessment of the proposals on Canada's competitiveness. Second, the proposals as presented are highly complex and place undue burden on private business, particularly small business. The effort required to assess the application of the proposed legislation, let alone comply, is not trivial. When hard-earned capital is diverted to paying professional advisors to manage the burden of increased complexity and compliance, there is potential to stifle growth and disincentivize entrepreneurship. As such, we have recommended that the government simplify and narrow the application of the proposals. Specific recommendations to accomplish this include excluding spouses from the application of the income sprinkling provisions, as well as abandoning the passive income proposals in their entirety. Third, we are very concerned that a number of the provisions have a retrospective effect that could not have been anticipated by taxpayers prior to the release of these proposals. Certain provisions will have ongoing implications for transactions that were undertaken before the proposals were announced, in some cases many years, if not decades earlier. Other provisions require extensive multi-generational tracking of transactions, stretching back to transactions that may have been completed over 40 years ago. This new burden may not only be difficult to administer going forward, but it may be impossible, particularly for family enterprises that are into their second, third, or even later generations of ownership. We have recommended that the retrospective nature of the offending provisions be eliminated. Fourth and finally, we are concerned about the potential for negative impact on Canada's competitiveness in the global market. In addition to increased complexity and compliance burdens for entrepreneurs, the proposals as presented have the effect of introducing punitive tax results on the death of a Canadian business owner, as well as the transfer of a Canadian family business to the next generation. These unfair outcomes could have a detrimental long-term effect on the willingness of Canadian entrepreneurs to continue to work in Canada or keep their businesses within the family. We have asked that the punitive outcomes for these Canadian taxpayers be eliminated, either by modifying or abandoning select provisions included in the proposals or by amending other provisions to ensure Canada's entrepreneurs and their family members are treated fairly. Now that the consultation period has closed, we eagerly anticipate the response from finance, including direction to help private companies decide where to go from here. We will continue to keep you apprised of changes as they arise. And in the meantime, your Deloitte tax advisor remains ready to help you navigate this uncertain tax landscape and the changes that will come.